Hey guys, it's Leilani. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm the author of The Devil's Heir, which is a young adult paranormal romance about demons, and it is coming out October 24th of this year. Oh my god, that's in like 3 weeks. And so today we're going to be talking about how I formatted my book, particularly with a bleed. And then there's going to be a bonus about how I'm doing my ebook with Vellum as well. So stay tuned. I'm going to switch over to my computer right now because obviously I'm going to show you guys exactly how to do it. I am not a professional by any means, but I watched a bunch of videos and I tried to make this formatting video as easy as I possibly could for you guys to follow. So hopefully it helps. Hopefully everything makes sense. If you have any questions, you can always hit me up and I'm happy to answer. Hello everybody, so I'm going to attempt to show you how to format your book with a full bleed so that you can have some cool chapters just like this. Okay, so first things first, let's back up a little bit. So if you use Scrivener to write your books, when you export from Scrivener to a Word document, it's going to automatically divide your chapters into different sections. So if you don't know what a section is, when you click up here, there you go, section 1, section 2, section 3. So it's going to already do that for each. It's automatically going to do that for each of your different chapters. So you're going to want to go ahead and get rid of that because it's going to help you when you do your header and footers later. So the way that you do that is do the Shift 6, so you have that little button right there with the B, which stands for the section break, and then just leave this blank and then go ahead and click Replace All. So there, got rid of the coda. It got rid of the blank pages because I already had some sections for you. So the first thing that I'm going to recommend to you guys is figure out your page size. So I have a 5.5 by 8.5 book, so I already have a custom size. So if you're doing a bleed, I'll link it down below, but there's a KDP website, because basically you have to add a little bit from the width and the height. Don't really know why, but in order to have the picture spread to the edges, you need to add some space. So again, I'll leave the link down below so you can see the actual calculations. But so my 5.5 by 8.5 book ended up being 5.62 by 8.75. So go ahead and click OK. And then you're going to want to go ahead over here and click on Microsoft Word and make sure this is on whole document. Go into your margins, and then you're going to want to add a little bit of a gutter. So I put mine at 0.2. And then if you want to go into specifics, let's go ahead and see what I did over here. Typically, people usually go put around 5. I'll show you. 0.5 for everything, but because I don't like my page numbers at the bottom, I actually like my page numbers at the top. I have my font go a little bit further down than people normally do. So I did 0.6, 0.5, 0.6, 0.6 basically. So let's go ahead and do that here. So again, Microsoft Word, whole document margins. So I did mine 0.5, 0.6, 0.6, I believe it was 0.6. Was it 0.5, 0.6, 0.6, 0.6? And then a gutter of 2. And then go ahead and click OK. So this should be the size of your document. And then speaking of sections, so that's kind of where it gets the most complicated. So before you even copy and paste over your text, I would recommend figuring out the type of front matter that you're going to want. So I have a title page, copyright, another title, sign up for my newsletter, my dedication, and a blank page before my chapter even starts. And that's because even though this is technically the left, this is technically the right, when the book is in print, the left is on the right. because that's the way that you open the book. So that's kind of why I usually keep it in this 2-page format, just because it helps me remember that this is actually the right, this is actually the left. So what I would recommend is go ahead and add a couple your front matter pages, even if you're just going to leave them blank or just with some fake words. That way it just makes it easier to do your sections. So the way that you do that is go ahead and click over here, break, next page, and then if you go up here, click on the top, you see that it is a different section. So again, for your front matter, you're going to want each page to be a different section, and then when you copy and paste your chapters, you're going to want each chapter to be a different section. So even though I told you to get rid of the ones that Scrivener already put in for you, you're going to go ahead and manually do it again. So let's go over here and see if I can copy my first 2 chapters to show you guys what I mean. Don't worry, this isn't really a spoiler because I already have my first couple chapters up on my website if you were curious. So again, let's add in a new, where'd it go? Oh, get out of here. Let's add in a new break. Perfect. So on this new page, let's go ahead and paste that. And there you go. What the heck happened to my page size? Let's see. Page size. I actually didn't even press the one that I made. Go whole document. Are my margins set up? There we go. Okay. There we go. And then so if you click up here, perfect. So each section is different. And since I copied and pasted for my other document, this automatically went into a new section as well. But even here, see this new blank page that I added is section 5. Okay, so let's talk about fonts. So I downloaded this font from DaFonts.com. I'll have it linked down below. That's DaFonts. They have a bunch of free fonts. So I went ahead and I downloaded this font for free. And then the way that you get it to drop down half the page, because typically in fiction, most of the chapters, why is it doing that? Most of the chapters usually start halfway down the page. So the way that I did that is right here, so spacing before and after. So these are the particular measurements that I put. You can kind of play with it, do whatever you want. It depends on what type of font you have or if you just have a number. This is what I went with. And then same for here, I used the free serif font in 10.5. The reason it's so small, well, that's a long story. Basically, 11 is pretty normal, but 10.5 is typically as low as you should probably go. And again, so I have mine at exactly 0.16. That's just the way that I like it, but again, it's up to you. And so yeah, it's going to be the same with over here. So what you can do is when you have this all set up, you can actually put it in a style. So every time you do the new chapter, or when you're formatting it, you can just highlight the chapter and then go to new style, and it should automatically do all the spacing and stuff for you. Okay, so here's the hard part. So now we're going to go ahead and try to do, here we go, the sections. So you can kind of already see that I already clicked some stuff up here. So you're going to want a different odd and even page. That one's automatically kind of clicked. And then you're going to want to click this one, different first page. So you can see here that this automatically says first page header section 3. And then again, if you go down here for even page header section 4. Is that right? No, that is not right. So you're going to want to click on this, your new chapter. And then the reason it's doing that is because it's clicking on the picture in the background, which is kind of annoying. Okay. Here we go. Click over there. There we go. And then you're going to want to make sure different first page is clicked. There you go, first page header. And then the same thing for up here with all of your different front matters. So the reason you're going to want each individual front matter page to be its own section is to make sure that this is clickable. Why? Because typically in fiction, you don't really want anything on your front page, your chapter page. So now I'm going to go ahead and mess with again with the photo, with the sizes. So I have mine at 0.4 and then 0.3, and 0.3 I believe is the lowest you can go. And I have mine at 0.3 because I like my page numbers to be at the top with nothing at the bottom, which is why I have that a little bit lower, and then this one a little bit higher. So again, that's just what I prefer. Go ahead and make sure that this is matched. Let's see, is it going to do the same for down here? There we go. So just double check that it is the same for each of the section breaks. It's kind of a lot of work, but I believe the reason that it does that is because it is a different section, but you don't really want to, no, I take that back. So if you don't want to do that, you should probably at least change the sizing. So hopefully you watched this video before you even tried. You can change the sizes of the header and the bottom. Just don't do the text until after you do the different sections, because then that's when it messes up. But you can change the sizing before you add the sections. That way you don't have to do what I just did and add them all individually. Okay, so anyways, so now here comes the tricky part. So let's go ahead and go middle. The Devil's Heir, which is the title of my book. I personally use this in DaFont in size 10 for my even pages. Again, make sure it's in the center. Leilani Lopez. Make sure your font is the same. There you go. So Devil's Heir, Leilani Lopez. And then again, the reason that it doesn't show up on the chapter pages is because you have that first page, different first page clicked. So if you go down here, same thing. See, there's nothing on the chapter pages. Okay, let's add the page count. Okay, so go ahead, click header to footer, page number. Let's go up here, actually do it to make sure that it does it correctly. Page number, yep, add pages. I do mine on the inside because when the book is printed, the inside is actually the outside. Hopefully that makes sense. Again, this is just my preference because I like my page numbers to be up top, but if you do yours on the bottom, go for it. So I'm going to click OK, and let's see. So again, there's nothing on these pages, which is just what we wanted. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And then if you go down, there you go. See, it carries on with nothing on the chapter page. And then this would be 7, 8, 9. And then just make sure that you change your fonts to make it all the same. I personally do free serif just because I think it looks a little bit cleaner. Again, that is also what I use here too. And I think that's pretty much it. So I hope that was relatively simple. If not, I will post a couple other videos that you can watch from other author tubers talking about how they did their formatting, because formatting is a little bit tricky. But honestly, formatting is a little bit tricky, but once you kind of know what you're doing, it's pretty easy and pretty fun. I think the hardest part for sure is just making sure that your sections are right, because if your sections are all messed up, then your headers are going to be all screwed up too. So that's why I recommend trying to add in some of your front matter first, which I guess you don't really need to do, but personally I just think it's easier because sometimes if you want to say just do your chapter first and then add in a blank page before, which you can do by just again doing these section breaks, but sometimes it could just be a little wonky. So I would at least add like a page or two before you do your chapters, because then it'll just be easier to add in even more pages and just make sure that they all have their different sections. So I think the biggest takeaway you guys need is just to make sure that each of your sections or each of your chapters have its own section. And then it's going to be the same with the back matter. So when you eventually add in some back matter, you're going to want to make sure that each of the back matter is a different page. So actually here, there you go, different first page, see, and it took it all away. So same with the back matter. So I hope that this was at least somewhat helpful. I tried to basically just condense everything that I learned. And so if you're watching this for the bleed, as long as you added that extra space that I told you about, so the 0.62, 0.75, which again, I'll link it down below for you, you should be able to fully stretch out your manuscript and it should be a-okay. Yeah. Oh, and then just in case this happens to you guys, side note, just something random. So again, when you're doing your body text, always align it like this, or justify the text. That way it starts over here, ends over here. Don't really know why I just threw that in, but I felt like it was important in case this is your first formatting video. Okay, so one thing that I wanted to mention to you guys, because this happened to me at least a couple times, so I'm going to go ahead and show you. So when you convert or when you save this to a PDF, sometimes this happens. So obviously you can see that it is the wrong formatting size because this is your typical 8.5 by 11 instead of the 5.5 by 8.5. So the way that you're going to fix that, again, don't really know why that it does this when you convert it into a PDF. See, I have it labeled wrong because I wanted to show you guys. So if that ever happens to you, just make sure you go back to your page setup and that it is still clicked on a 5.5 by 8.5, because sometimes, don't really know why, it'll automatically preset itself back into 8.5 by 11.5, and then you're like, what the hell just happened to all my hard work? So this won't change. If that happens, it'll still be the page size that you set it as, but sometimes when you convert it into a PDF, it just does that. I can't really tell you why, but I ran into that a couple times and wanted to let you know in case you freak out because your images are all wonky. So, like I said, I hope that was kind of a lot of talking. This video is already almost 20 minutes long, but hopefully I dumbed it down a little bit for you guys because formatting is pretty darn tricky. But like I said, once you kind of get it, it's pretty easy. The hardest part is just the sections, because if your sections, again, are all screwed up, then your headers are all screwed up. So I'm going to say it once, say it again. Make sure that your front matter, back matter all has its own section and each chapter is its own section. And then just as a little bonus, I'm using Vellum to do my arc. So unfortunately, Vellum doesn't have the capability to do a full bleed, but rumor on the streets is they're working towards that. So I figured a way that I can at least try to make it, I don't know, a little bit fancy, I guess. If you don't know anything about Vellum, Vellum is a program that automatically formats all your stuff for you. So it actually does print as well, but since obviously I was trying to keep it a little bit fancy, I decided to do it by myself. But for Vellum, I'm just going to use the ebooks because to format ebooks, For some reason it's a little bit different. I don't really know why. Like, you have to take away some of the formatting because it flows differently. Obviously, depending on the size of your device will depend on how many words shows up. So anyways, long story short, the way that I was able to do this, added my own font, I actually just did a Word document. Oh, here it is. I just did a Word document and I literally took that font and wrote it out and then took a screenshot, so like a picture. And then what I did was I went ahead and I made sure that, let me show you. So that's what it shows like. Don't want that, so you're going to want to do hide heading, and then it's going to take that away. But you're going to want to fill it out here because obviously in the ebooks you have your contents page, so make sure your chapters are right. But anyways, so what I did was I went ahead and I added an image. And then see, I literally had all of my different chapters. And then, so basically this is just an image, but instead it's my chapter title. So I don't have any official, there's no like way that you can add your own font or anything like that, at least as far as I'm aware. So that's why I just did images, and it's the same for all the chapters. And then pro tip, so I made the font size 48, and then when you take a screenshot, make sure that it's pretty tight. That way the font shows up pretty big, or the image shows up pretty big, so that it looks good on all different sizes. Yeah, so okay, sorry to interrupt this video, but I wanted to give you guys a little bit of a side note. So if you're using Vellum to format your ebook, so obviously if you've been watching this video, you worked really hard to, you know, put like a pretty font, to do a picture for your section break, to make the first line of each of the words capitalized, do a drop cap, whatever it is that you're doing. But fun fact, so if you're going to send a Mobi file, which is the Kindle file, to say your phone or to your fellow ARC readers, so what's going to happen, this is what tripped me up. So when you send the Mobi file from Vellum, when you download it, it's actually not going to have any of those cool features that you just added. So it will have the pictures. So obviously, as I just told you guys, instead of using a font for my title, I had a photo. So the photo did come through. I will pop in a picture right here. So this is what I wanted my ebook to look like. So if you guys look over here, I have the photo for the chapter title, so that's still carried through. And then I added the first 4 words, I believe, to be capitalized, and then I added the section divider to be a little pitchfork. But if you look at it here, none of those actually carried through. So don't freak out like I did. Basically, from my understanding, whenever you're going to send a file to your Kindle via at least email, I don't know about BookFunnel, I don't know how that works, but at least if you're going to send a Mobi file from your email to a Kindle address, the formatting will not go through. Why that is, I have no idea, but obviously all that hard work is still going to be in there. So when you upload that ebook to Amazon, when people purchase the ebook, it is going to be the formatting that you wanted it to be, as long as you upload it into Kindle Previewer, the little app that Vellum tells you should download. As long as it looks good in that application, then everything's going to be fine. That's all I have for you guys. I don't think there's anything else that I really need to add. Hopefully everything makes sense. And if you have any questions, you always know where to find me over on Instagram, or you can send me an email. I'll try to help you out as best as I can, but honestly, this is exactly how I did my own formatting. I showed you everything that I did. So hopefully everything makes sense to you. Yeah, so like I said, DaFont, you can find your fonts. I did exactly 0.16 for the line spacing. My font size is 0.10. Make sure you justify the text. I showed you how to do the drop. If you want to do a drop letter, if you want to get that type of fancy, the way that you do that is you go to, where is it? Insert, drop cap. And then it's pretty self-explanatory, but personally with the font that I wanted to use, which was this, so it tied into the rest of my book, the font just looked a little bit wonky, so again I just decided to use, to go this route and do a different first line. But you can do whatever the hell you want, which is the great thing about being an indie author. So I don't really know how many times I can say that's all I have for you guys. Hopefully everything makes sense to you, and best of luck. Don't be discouraged. Honestly, when I was learning how to format, I had to watch videos and multiple videos like 100 different times before I got it right, at least to my liking. So that's why I even made this video, because the first time I ordered a proof off of KDP, I didn't add the extra spacing, so I just did your classic 8.5, 5.5 by 8.5 with my image, and then there was like a white line down the side in the actual proof copy. So that's why I'm making this video for those of you who are trying to do bleeds. That's the way that you do it. Honestly, you just have to change the page size just a little bit. Everything else about formatting is the same. So hopefully this video made sense, and yeah. Thanks guys, I'll see you later. Okay guys, that's all I have for you today. I hope this video was informative. I hope it helped some of you guys. I know that when I first tried to do a bleed, like I told you guys, I'm trying to pull it up here to see if I can show you. Like I said, it had this white line. That's what I was talking about in the video earlier when I just did it as the 5.5 by 8.5. So that's why I made this video, to make sure that that line doesn't happen and that you have a seamless bleed every single time. So like I said, the ebook of The Devil's Heir is already up for pre-order. If you decide to pre-order the ebook, make sure you email me confirmation, because I will send you some signed swag that I don't have near me, but it's a bookmark and a postcard. And if ebooks aren't your thing, don't even worry about it, because this bad baby is coming out real soon. Okay guys, bye. Oh, before I forget, the first 3 chapters of The Devil's Heir are up on my page now. So 3 chapters is all I'm going to give you guys. So definitely go check it out, because you get to meet a certain devilish bad boy in chapter 3, and you're gonna want to read it. Okay, bye.